Today we will continue work with military cloths. Our previous masterclass is the beginning of our piece textile maneuvers. Today we will complicate the weaving scheme on clothes. We'll master a new method of laying stitches. As we see, it's a good idea for yokes, bags, clothes reconstruction and also today we will use all of the textile rests, including the smallest, for creation of textile ornaments and accessories. Many a little. In the piece textile purposes collects today Tatiana Lazareva. Hello, dear viewers! Today we continue our textile maneuvers and will work with new military clothes. As Alexander Suvorov spoke, hard in training, easy in battle. But we are peaceful people, therefore won't hold here textile fights. On the contrary, we will try that all our participants will finish all peace and harmony. So we begin work with military clothes. Let's remember our previous masterclass. All was very simple. We took such knife, move out blade, took a special mat and made the marking which was parallel. In other words, we made all lines strictly vertically. And today we will complicate the task, because lines will go how we will want, and we will lay stitches not in chessboard order, but so that as a result we will have wedding threads and we will see military clothes. We will close completely all cut surface. How? We will simply make just the same cutting, but at the base will be figured. Therefore, you need to put lines how you would like. We can put an horizontally and wavy. In other words, the trajectory can be any. We can make cutting along the perimeter which you have chosen for an ornament. Here, all depends only on your imagination. As you think up, the most important thing that it won't be very narrowly, and during filling with the woolen thread of a fabric basis, your basis will stand weight. I want to pay your attention to a very important point. Now in work you will see all, how the needle will move, how we will lay stitches. I will just tell you that you can remember all. You take a needle with a woolen thread. Fix in the first vertically cut column and further go thus with return. In other words, the needle leaving from below upwards makes one stitch, but it makes it through two vertical lines. Look, 1, 2 needle down, but it comes back from below very artfully. It comes back from below having returned on one and having moved apart threads, like this. And thus you make all the stitches and they are overlapped. The canvas itself turns out without intervals, without spaces. I will repeat once again how it needs to be made. So, 1, 2, the needle down, we make a stitch. Further, you need to return on one stitch back to move apart threads, and thus the needle return. In other words, you see that the vertical thread is blocked by the woolen. So, once again, 1, 2, the needle goes down. From below it moving apart, woolen threads come back, in other words, appears on the surface. And we continue. And one more very important point. It's always the beginning of work. You take a needle, take it out. Having made a stitch, you direct the needle down, necessarily make one ruse. You get between threads and between knot, and when tightened, there is a thread fastening from below. Here thus. And now it will be very easy to you to return between threads, how you have already stipulated, from below upwards, and absolutely easy to continue work. The thread will be already fixed. When work is finished, I'd like to see what has turned out. It's necessary to go to the mirror and to try on what we have made. And we have the wonderful removable detail which can be used both as a camisette, and as the interesting yoke. It can be a cuff and a bag. This method allows to construct clothes. If you have any wrapped or old fabric that no longer withstands the load, you can, instead of darning, simply cut it slightly vertically and decorate thus. It can be a collar or cuffs, a told, even a jeans jacket. You can use any fabric which you want. It can be a cloaking, a jean clothes, an old raincoat, a coat, a jacket. Dream, all is in your hands. And by the way, pay attention that lines can go not only as here vertically or at an angle, wavy, but round. Its original textile run on a circle. You may cut in radially, but it's necessary in the middle if it, for example, a cap, to leave not cut part, it should be integral. Because if here in the center the many cut lines will be crossed, they can't sustain the load. You simply start to cut slightly such round detail from any diameter and finish also with such integral part. It will be very effectively, beautifully, and you will go from the center to perimeter. I'm sure you have paid attention how carefully we put all rests which remained with us as a result of cutting out details. Really, the thick woolen cloth is such unique material in which there are no trifles. Each trifle can become something. For example, narrow strips from the wrong side I have laid seams over the edge and has connected them in a circle in such small detail. It can become a fine brooch and an ornament for a band or an earring. You can continue work and make it more largely, or to combine among themselves narrow and wide strips. Thus, you will have the interesting texture, which will find good use in your skillful hands. Work is finished. All that we need to make only a hook. It's on sale and it's literally 2 stitches which fix and transform a brooch into an earring. You can fix a pin from the back side and simply pin on a sweater or knitted clothes. You see that from the back simply stitches over the edge. And you can combine even teeny pieces of a sequin cloth which remain with you after work. Simply attach them in a circle on a needle course. You make small stitches, they are almost invisible. But if you want to make better, from the back you can make a piece of silk or a lining fabric. Then it will be absolutely ideal. You can play with this form and make of it more interesting variants. And by the way, if you need to alter quickly an ordinarily looking textile surface, you take a spray paint and also any stencil from kitchen accessories, or here such synthetic lacy napkin, put on the textile surface, and by easy movement of a hand coat it with paint. Something like this. All seems easily and simply. Now we look. We remove our stencil and pay attention, you can straighten this out of paint by means of woolen threads and use it as an additional paint layer. And now very interesting method, which for certain will be pleasant to you and is useful. We will work with carefully kept garbage, a textile waste which each master who works with different textures and materials necessarily has. We will use pieces of fur and pieces of woolen threads and pieces of textiles which remain after work, even if they incise with a penny kind. You work with what approaches you on color, on mood. The most important in such textile collage is to create mood. Not simply to put everything that remains into you after work, that the material has not gone to waste. You need to create autumn wood, sun flashes on water. It really should be something that could interest not only you, but also relatives, whom any interesting thing, for example, can become a gift. Our new military ruse. Pay attention, usually this garbage goes to a litter basket because it can't be sewed. It's impossible to stitch it, to connect manually, but by means of new technologies, for example textile glue Avalon, you can make all very beautifully and interesting. How? Glue looks like this. Unusually, isn't it? You should use this glue in two layers. At first, on its surface, you put everything that you have after work, and we have already agreed that with special mood. I have mosses, lichens, sunbeams in any pine wood. It should be interesting and subjective sensation of textiles. Not just to put everything that is at hand, but really to create mood. Further, you put all this beauty, and it's necessary to drink tea, to have a rest, that with new view you could see errors after you returning to work. So you come back and at once see on the surface unnecessary details. Perhaps it's necessary to remove any thread and to take some and put on a special place. The rig is small but worthy. Further, you should cover your textile collage with the same layer of glue, and your garbage will be fixed between its two surfaces. Your pins, if it's a huge surface, certainly it's necessary to baste it. Fix these two layers and the garbage which is between them. Then take the sewing machine, press on the pedal and stitch, the more often the better. The meshing line will carry out thread basis function. You fix very often the garbage which is between glue by a meshing line. Pay attention that during the work you can use not only a simple fixing cotton thread, but also any decorative threads from your reserve. It can be silk threads, capron, interesting threads with shine. It will be very interesting variant because the surface will have the brilliant view. Then it will be the most interesting. You need to take any container if nearby there is a bathroom. It's more convenient to make it in a bathroom. You lower your glue in warm soap water and it dissolved. In your hands there is only the textile basis. We will dry the product using the hair dryer, but if you are at home and you have a lot of time, you dry up textiles in a natural way. Then iron with steam and use as you want. It can be a part of a decorative bag. You can update an old bag, having glued on leather or enameled part of a bag such interesting textiles. You can make interesting removable cuffs or a bracelet. It can be everything from a headwear to house footwear. Dream, all is in your hands. The masterclass is finished. As Alexander Suvorov spoke, to surprise, to win, luck accompanies the brave. I wish you the brave decision of your textile problems. Good luck to new meetings. With you there was Tatiana Lazareva. Peace to your home.